Hi there guys and girls, and welcome to my review of Mortal Kombat Legacy Season 2. Now, this has received a lot of mixed opinions online. I think with the Mortal Kombat Legacy path, we started obviously with the Rebirth short, which I really liked. And then Season 1 of Legacy, which was character lead up, which if you watched my first review, I said I know a lot of that stuff, and I don't know why they were showing us that stuff, and some of it was good and some of it wasn't. Like, for instance, the Raiden episode was good because he lands in a nut house, and that was interesting. You know, like, he's locked up and it established his character as God, being killed and being reborn and all that in a different area of Earth. Whereas some of the other stories, like the Katana Molina one, for me seemed like we already know those stories. You know, like, even though we know Raiden's a god and that, right? But the way that they told the Raiden story was unique and interesting. Like, it didn't feel like a past telling. It felt like a telling, like now, like a modern day telling of something that could happen if Raiden landed right now in our Earth realm right now. That story could happen. Whereas the Katana Molina one felt like a flashback, like stuff we know, we've seen all that stuff. And to me, like if you're not a Mortal Kombat fan, it might have been good. But for me, I didn't like it. You know, like, because I know that stuff. But there's no way I could have told you what happened in the Raiden episode. But I could have told you everything that happened in the Katana Molina episode, because that's the Mortal Kombat story, you know. There was King Jared, and he had his wife, Queen Sindel, and their daughter Katana, and then Big Bad Shah Kahn came along, and he killed them all, and Queen Sindel killed herself, and then he adopted the Katana as his own daughter, stepdaughter, you know. He wasn't really the father, and you know what I mean? There was nothing, no new spin on it for me as a Mortal Kombat fan. So that's pretty much how I felt about the first season of Legacy. I still liked it, but for me, the Scorpion and Sub-Zero episodes were the strongest. Now, with this season, Season 2 of Legacy, I really don't know what happened. There was a teaser put out by Kevin Tacheron, if I'm saying his name right. Oh, before I talk about that, I want to say one thing. The quality, I have nothing against Kevin's work. Like, the quality, the acting quality, the editing, the shooting, the quality of this project's amazing. What I have a problem with, though, which I'm going to get into now, is the fact that it's not consistent in the storytelling and plot and what it's doing. A lot of the time it doesn't know what the fuck it's doing. It's like, if I can use that Rebirth thing for an example. In the Mortal Kombat Rebirth thing, it was set in a real time, that 10-minute short. You know, and even though they called it Mortal Kombat, you know, it was like, you know, Jax is like a cop and he's downtown, you know, and there's this psycho killer on the loose, and there's this secret underground tournament like Bloodsport, you know, and they're going to hire Scorpion to go in there and kill everyone. That worked so well as a story in a real time sort of environment. Whereas this, there's stuff like Liu Kang is suddenly like dark now because his girlfriend gets killed, you know, and it's like, it's not set up enough. And like, I know I just said, like, I hate the character setup, but and then go Sub-Zero. That was my prop for later. I had him standing up, but he fell over. What was I saying? Now, thanks a lot, Sub-Zero. You fucked with my train of thought. You're standing there for a good 10 minutes, and then you suddenly fall over. 72 points of articulation in my ass. Anyway, yeah, like, it wasn't set up enough in the fact that it felt like they didn't have enough push behind it, And when I'm saying I didn't like the setup in regards to like the characters, like I'm talking about if I already know the story, if I know the Katana Molina story, and then you tell it to me again in Legacy, I'm probably not going to like it because I know it. Do you know what I mean? Whereas if you do a new spin on it, like the Rebirth thing, totally new spin, right? Didn't know any of that. I didn't know, oh, Jax is going to hire Scorpion to kill everyone. You know, that's fucking awesome, you know? Reptiles out there killing people, like, eating their flesh. That's cool, you know, but when you tell me something I already know, yeah, cool, you can present it really nice. And it's like these fan videos you see, you know, they present something really cool, or they do their own little fight video, and it's grass, you know, it's cool, it's to watch, but, you know, it's just for a bit of fun, really. But if you're doing a project like this, like a web series, which is going to go into a movie, you need to put, I think, a different spin on it. So to go more into this, like, and I'm sort of just doing this all off the top of my head, but the way I'm going to do this video is like this. Now, I'm going to talk a bit about his teaser lead up now, and then what I'm going to do after that is I've loaded up every episode of Legacy Season 2. I've got it on a USB ready to fire up on my TV. I have watched it a few times already, but what I'm going to do is, just so I'm so fresh, I'm going to watch each episode, then I'm going to turn the camera on and tell you exactly what I thought, episode 1, episode 2, just so I'm totally fresh, because, like, yeah, that's the way I want to do it. But before I get into the episodes, I want to talk about his teaser lead up. Kevin Tachiron put a teaser lead up on Machinima whenever, before Legacy was coming out. I think it was, you know, earlier in the year or whatever, maybe Febish. I'm not sure. And it said, because I've marked it down on my whiteboard here with points. We're going to get straight to the tournament. There'll be no setup. And completely about the tournament were the two main things Kevin Tangeron told us.
So now I can finally break the silence and tell you guys what it's going to be about. It's going to be about the actual Mortal Kombat tournament this time. So no setup, and it's I know a lot of people were expressing their opinions on wanting to see more fighting, more action, more visual effects, so we really took that to heart. And in this season, it's completely about the tournament.
Then he went on to say that these characters would be in Mortal Kombat Legacy Season 2. Kano, Liu Kang, Raiden, Johnny Cage, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Sonya, Kung Lao, Katana, Molina, Jax, Baraka, Striker, Shang Tsung, Quan Chi, Ermac, and Kenshi. Now, out of those characters in that list, this is who was in this season. Liu Kang, Raiden, Johnny Cage, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Kung Lao, Katana, Molina, Striker, Shang Tsung, Ermac, and Kenshi, so 12. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12, 17 there. So 5 characters missing. Now, the thing I was talking about consistency is this, and I'm sort of jumping ahead of myself with this, but I'll say this right now while I got it in my head, and I'm going to get to it later as well. You'll see coming up, by the way, spoilers, because I'm going to spoil everything, you know. You'll see a part where all the characters appear on the island, right? And they just appear. There's no boat. They just appear on the fucking island. And it's so weird. Like, it looks cool, but it's so weird the way they show it. Like, Kung Lao, like, walks into this alley, and he stops in this certain spot, and then he's just standing there, and he's dressed like a monk in the yellow, and he's got the hat and shit, you know, and he's just standing there, and then everything starts to, like raise up, like this force is, like, summoning him to the island, which is cool, right? Yeah. And he disappears, and then he appears on the island, and then as he appears on the island, he's no longer dressed as a monk. He's like in his fighting clothes, like, and he's like, wah, and he like lands all cool on the island, and I'm like, huh, okay.
On 204.
inspector. What the hell are you doing here?
Stun gun? Seriously?
So, how did his clothes change? You know, like, am I supposed to just, is this a Mortal Kombat thing? Their clothes can just change? Because I find that odd, because Melina told Katana that she had to go and change for the tournament.
Get ready to travel.
So, obviously, it didn't work for Katana, did it? But it only works for Kung Lao. And then, the other weird thing is this. That we only see the characters in this, the ones I read out that are in these 9 episodes. Only those characters appear on the island. So, like, if this is going to be a whole thing about Mortal Kombat, if this is going to be like, yeah, Jackson and fucking Sonya are in it, they didn't appear on the island. So what, are they just going to show up later? Are they going to appear later? Like, sorry we're late, we're ready to kick ass. Like, and this is why it feels inconsistent and disjointed for me. If they're going to be in it and in the tournament, and maybe Kevin Tancheron has a plan for Jackson Sonya, maybe they're going to come later on a boat, which I would find weird, because how would they know where the fucking island is? But you can't just show up later. That's because it's weird. Like, he could have not had them in these 10 episodes, but you could have still just showed them arriving on the island and then being like, we're going this way, and then they go over a fucking hill, and then we don't see them for these 10 episodes, because when you get to this 10th episode, it says to be continued, right? So there's going to be more episodes. Maybe they're going to be in the next group of episodes, or the movie, or whatever. But they still don't show up at the start. So it's so strange for them to then be in it later. Same with Kano and Quan Chi. You know, it's like, and Baraka. It's just, it feels so disjointed. And another example. Striker. Striker appears on the island. And it's like, okay, Striker, you're here. Now, Striker had no backstory. None. He was just, like, with Sonya. And, like, that's like, and there he is. He's on the island. No backstory. And then we have Katana and Melina with all this backstory that we already fucking know. And this is what I mean. It's inconsistent. Here we got a character with backstory, and here we got a character with no backstory. I would have liked some backstory on Striker, actually. Yeah, just a little bit, maybe. Like, Shang Tsung shows up and says, hey, you want to come to this fucking tournament? Yeah, right, no worries. See you there. Nothing. He just shows up. It's like, and then Raiden's talking to him like, oh, you've got exceptional skills. You're exceptionally fast, or some crap. It's like, oh, okay. Really? That's it? And like, I watch a lot of movies and TV. A lot. I mean, I just finished Breaking Bad. Fucking great show. I just finished Dexter. Amazing show. These are my 3 top shows, by the way. And I'm still watching Sons of Anarchy. Sons of Anarchy is still going, and I love that show. Like, Kurt Sutter, like, has an awesome thing going on with Sons of Anarchy and The Shield. Yeah, I really like those shows. They're really powerful, and they're ballsy, and they're not afraid to do things. And I've got another show here, what my friends told me I've got to watch. I've watched a few episodes, Justified. I've got to watch more of them. He's on my back about it, saying it's really, really good too. And all these shows are so well written and so tight, especially Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad is probably the best TV show that I've seen in a long time. And I even, like, for me, for example, my top 3 shows were Sons of Anarchy, Breaking Bad, then Dexter, in that order, right? But even though I like Sons more, I like the idea of Sons of Anarchy, bikers and that. Even though I like Sons more, Breaking Bad is a better show. It was just, for the reason is that it was so tight like amazingly tight. Like, and when I say tight, like this is a term that reviewers and things use. We're talking about a tight script. No fat on the script. And when I say no fat, there's no padding in the show. There's nothing that's in there for no fucking reason. Everything is in there for a reason. And everything, even that episode, Breaking Bad did it so well. They have an episode called Fly, and it's all about this fly flying around. And that even feels like its own thing, but it's done so well that it doesn't feel like it's a crap episode or doesn't belong in there. It's perfectly meshed. And that's the sort of thing that I come to expect now watching a lot of things. I mean, I've been watching this old Lois and Clark TV show because like going over the Superman stuff after watching that last crappy Superman movie, and you know, just that some of the 90s script writing was pretty bad, you know, like. And I know I'm way off subject, but my point is that I watch a lot of stuff, a lot of movies, cartoons, anime, TV shows, you know, and have a sort of level of quality now. And when something is disjointed like this, it feels just bad, you know, and yeah, it's a real shame because I was really looking forward to Legacy, and like, it just feels so weird. It feels like they changed it or something. Because it took a long time to come out. I remember this teaser went up like ages ago, yeah, and he said the script's already in the teaser, or in this promotional thing, or whatever you want to call it. And then there was a real big break, and then, you know, and then it was done. And I wouldn't be surprised if things were changed. I really wouldn't. I'll say, like, this is my quick lead in for this. I'm just going to say a bit more, and then I'm going to get to each episode. So for some people might not want to watch the whole video of me talking about all the episodes, but I'm just going to go over the characters. Liu Kang definitely was cool, like acted cool, and that just needed more drive behind his story. You can't have that his girlfriend dies and that makes him bad. You can't. And maybe it's just because I have watched too much Sons of Anarchy and Breaking Bad and all that shit, but you need a real reason. You need character drive behind someone who's a monk, member of the White Lotus Society, last hope for Earthrealm. He leaves the temple, his girlfriend dies, that's it, I'm a fucking bad up. No. She got shot in a robbery. Like, that's it? They didn't torture her or something? Like, I know it's going to sound fucked up, but if they really wanted to make Liu Kang hate humanity, something really bad had to happen to her. She couldn't have just got shot. It had to be more evil and more disturbing than that. It had to be that they tortured her for a while, they joked around, or they shot her in the leg first, and then they laughed about it, and then they blew her arm off like RoboCop, something like that. Maybe they felt her up a bit, something disturbing. It can't be just that, oh bang, she's dead, that's it. Okay, fuck humanity, fuck you all now. My girlfriend's dead, so fuck you. No, there had to be more reason. Liu Kang had to be more disturbed, more upset. It couldn't be that she just like died. There had to be something more. That's why I love that. I love RoboCop. That's why I love that movie. The stuff that happens to Alex Murphy, that gang, they fuck him up so bad in that movie. So fucking bad. It's disturbing to watch, and they're joking, you know, like, I don't like cops, and cops don't like me, and he's blowing his arms off, and they're all shooting, bang, 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 and he's still alive, and then they shoot him in the head, and it's disturbing, and it makes him rise up, and it makes him not die, and it makes him become RoboCop, the ultimate hero, because what happened to him was the ultimate evil, and the ultimate good needs to combat the ultimate evil. It's like yin and fucking yang. That's why I love RoboCop. And this is the same sort of thing. If you're going to have Liu Kang become a dark character, there has to be a real drive behind it. Now you could be saying, oh, look, that's it's just legacy. We don't have to go overboard, and we don't need to have an R-rated RoboCop. You could be right. they could... I'll give you an example of how they could have done it and made it still more disturbing and still had more drive behind it. Later in the series, Shang Tsung has this big conversation with Liu Kang, and he tells him to get revenge on Kung Lao and on the human, you know, because of what happened to your girlfriend. Get revenge. You know what would have been cool? If Shang Tsung had sent those robbers that killed his girlfriend. If Shang Tsung had sent them and said, go fuck up Liu Kang's girlfriend, and then they fucked her up, and then he said, Liu Kang, you should join me because they killed your girlfriend. That would be more disturbing. That would be more cool. And that would give it a lot more drive. So that was just me talking about Liu Kang. Raiden in this episode is in it for about 2 minutes. He has the little fireplace meeting and talks to the warriors and says, you've been summoned here for this tournament, and because you have exceptional abilities in the real world, and they're enhanced even more here. You know, and one thing that's funny is Johnny Cage says bullshit, and then Sub-Zero appears and just he just freezes the campfire. It's not bullshit. I found that funny, actually. But Raiden, he's like, that's it. He welcomes to the island. He has the campfire thing, which is cool because that's from Deadly Alliance. Don't think I didn't get that reference. I really like that, by the way. Because I really like that scene in Deadly Alliance, how Raiden was talking to all the mortals and I've relinquished my status as Elder God to, you know, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. But then that's it. He's gone. Fucking gone. Welcome to the island. Welcome to the tournament. Watch me turn the campfire back on with my electricity. Bye. Next, Johnny Cage, who's now played by Casper Van Dien. A lot of you guys might know I put up a video that had a lot of views, actually. I was quite surprised. I was a bit annoyed, I guess you could say, that they'd replaced Matt Mullins as Johnny Cage with Casper Van Dien. Now, I have nothing against Casper Van Dien. I love Starship Troopers, all that. Johnny Rico, definitely a badass, cool guy. Love to meet him. Sign my thing. That'd be tops. But I'm a very loyal person, and Matt Mullins was in the first one. He was in Rebirth, and he was in the first series, and I don't see why they needed to take him out, you know, that far along. I actually thought he was doing a pretty good job as Johnny Cage. I really enjoyed his acting in the first season. That being said, now I really did like Matt Mullins as Cage, and I like Casper Van Dien too. So I'll say this. Casper Van Dien was really good in this as Johnny Cage. I really liked it. I'm not going to say who I think is better. I don't think that would be fair if both actors are watching this. I really enjoyed both performances. I can say that I wasn't disappointed with Casper Van Dien's portrayal of Johnny Cage. He did a good job. That's all I'll say. I don't want to say anything that, you know, I don't want to say I like this guy or this guy. I don't want to say who I liked better because I like them both. I really do. There's a lot of swearing in this Legacy too. A lot of people thought there was too much swearing, actually. For me, not a problem. I like a lot of swearing, actually. I swear a lot myself. Maybe that's why. There's a part where Johnny Cage is walking around the island going, fuck, 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 fuck. Where the fuck am I? Which I found quite funny. Scorpion is back in this. Played again by Ian Anthony Dale, same actor. Very cool. The Scorpion Sub-Zero stuff in this is very cool. Sub-Zero, very cool. But the only problem with Sub-Zero, and I can't believe this, everyone says it, he looks fucking stupid. The costume is shit. Sub-Zero is blue. He's fucking blue. It's not hard when we're talking Sub-Zero. He's blue and black. That's it. And in this, he's black. He's just black, and there's like a little blue line that goes around his mouth. It looks ridiculous. It looks shit. And even in that little promo video, if you go back and watch that with Kevin Tachiron, he's got the Sub-Zero statue there in the background. So it's not like he can say, oh, I've never seen Sub-Zero before. He's got the fucking statue. He should be fucking blue. And the weirdest thing about this is you'll see flashbacks in Legacy. And in the flashback, Sub-Zero's wearing blue. But in the current time, he's wearing this stupid black outfit, which looks retarded. I'm sorry. I shouldn't use the word retarded. I'm trying not to use words like that. But it looks silly and it looks stupid. Sub-Zero's blue. Make him fucking blue. Sonya, not in it. Kung Lao was cool. Kung Lao was played very well. I like the story. He's the ultimate monk. He's going to the island. You know, obviously he's run into Liu Kang. Liu Kang's in a dark place. Kung Lao's trying to help him out of it. You know, he's gone to the island. Katana, she was great. Apart from all the backstory crap, which they showed again. I cannot believe it. After I complained about it in my first review, that they showed the backstory of Katana Molina, I couldn't believe it. They did it again. And his words, straight to the tournament, no setup, completely about the tournament, completely! That was his word, completely. I'm not putting those words in his mouth. And then they're showing all this backstory about Katana Molina again. Stop it! Please! Katana is played by, I think, Samantha Joe, or Sam Joe, or whatever her name is. She does a great job. She's very good with, at playing Katana. I like her. And she's very good looking too. Molina, same thing. Great, played by a great actor, Michelle Lee? Michelle something, sorry, I've gone blank to her name. She did a great job. Makeup was fantastic. Played it well. We didn't need to see the backstory again because it's about Katana Molina. Jax wasn't in it. Brack wasn't in it. Striker was probably my meh character for this season. Striker's like, you know, he's got the gun, he's got the taser, and they make jokes about his vest, and like, because, I guess maybe because there's absolutely no backstory for Striker, I didn't give two shits about him. Shang Tsung, let's talk about Shang Tsung. Kerry Haruyuki Tagawa reprising his role as Shang Tsung was my favourite part about this season. Kerry is an amazing actor, and I've seen him in a lot of movies, not just Mortal Kombat, all little roles here and there, and every role he plays very well. He's a very talented actor. And for me, he was the perfect Shang Tsung in the Mortal Kombat movie. The perfect. So sinister. Everything he did with his face, his costume, everything Shang Tsung was awesome. And it was great to see him coming back for this and playing Shang Tsung again. And they made him lose the hair now, and he's bald, and all that's fine, that's cool. I liked his outfit when he was on the island. He sort of had a gold ceremonial outfit. But I didn't like his outfit when he was talking to Liu Kang, which was before the tournament sort of thing. He's in just a normal sort of black sort of thing, and I didn't like that. For me, like, I know this isn't the first Mortal Kombat movie, it's its own thing, but in the first movie, he always wore that same leather coat, even when he was in the human world, and even when he was on the tournament on the island. You saw that one scene where he morphs back from Johnny Cage's master, and he just morphs back to Shang Tsung, and he's in that same coat. That's the scene I'm talking about. And then on the island, he's wearing that same coat too. I think they should have had the same thing. I think maybe he should have wore that, even that gold stuff, even in the human, even in the city before the tournament, even in, you know, on Earth, you know, because Shang Tsung's badass. He's got all sorts of sorcery and weird powers. You know, if someone went, hey man, you look fucking stupid, you know, he could just steal their soul. You know, yeah. So, that's just a minor thing about his costume. Yeah, Kerry did an amazing job as Shang Tsung. Quan Chi, not in it. Ermac. I would never if I was doing something about Mortal Kombat, I would never put Ermac in it. Now, I will say this though. Kevin did a good job integrating Ermac into this. But for me, I still would have used Reptile. Like, for me, Reptile's always been sort of a key character. And the Reptile, Shang Tsung, Shao Kahn sort of story glues really well. That Reptile's a protector of Shang Tsung in the first tournament. He's invisible, he's a protector, he hides in the pit, sort of thing, you know, like in the game. He's barely in Mortal Kombat 1, secret character, sort of. In MK2, he becomes more known and out there and sort of fights against Shao Kahn and Shang Tsung. It's his way to get free. If he can beat Shang Tsung, he can beat Shao Kahn, he can be free. He just wants to be free. Reptile just wants to be free with his people. He's the last of his kind or something. For me, I would have rather have Reptile in it than Ermac. Ermac, for me, looks stupid. He like a fucking demon and like, it was cool how he had the, you know, the Mortal Kombat 9 quote in it. We are many, you are but one, and all that. And the whole thing about taking the souls, and, you know, he has all the souls in it. Yeah, that all makes sense, I know. But for me, I would have rather have Reptile in that cave, feeding on those bodies and protecting the sword. And, I mean, because, put it this way, in the Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance story, Shang Tsung sets Kenshi up and the sword burns him, and Kenshi swears revenge on Shang Tsung for making him lose his eyesight. So it's after Shang Tsung. So wouldn't it make a lot more sense that then he uses Reptile to guard the sword after that happens? You know? Or that Shang Tsung even just puts Reptile there to start with for the sword, knowing that Kenshi's going there. Yeah. And then we got Kenshi. Kenshi, I really liked. We got backstory with Kenshi, which was fine. It was done well. It was the perfect balance of showing us enough backstory and not too much. And, you know, being told about the sword and that, and then going to the sword. The only thing I didn't like, the only thing I thought was stupid, was when he's fighting with Ermac, and this is why it should have been Ermac too. That stupid explosion. He comes out and he's lost his eyesight. Come on. That was just so silly. An explosion, really? Yeah, so that's me talking about the individual characters and a bit about the structure of Legacy Season 2. So I didn't hate it, but it's by far, out of Rebirth and Legacy Season 1 and Legacy Season 2, it's my least favourite. I'd put that last. I'd still put Rebirth first. The first thing he did, I really liked. I thought he had a really cool take on Mortal Kombat going with Rebirth. Yeah. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to watch episode 1, and then I'm going to come back and tell you my thoughts on episode 1. So let's do it, shall we? I'll see you guys soon. Alright, so I just watched episode 1 again. Basically, episode 1 shows how Liu Kang has fallen from grace, is in an extremely dark place. He's in a bar. There's a guy singing, "Sometimes I feel like above the sun." And he's drinking away his life. Another gang comes in. Then that guy in the gang starts singing, "Relax, don't do it." And Liu Kang says, "Don't sing that song." So he's either, at first I thought he was trying to pick a fight, but there's a reason he doesn't like the song, which we'll find out later. But then there's a big fight. The fight's awesome, by the way. Lots of cool, brutal punching, and it's filmed very realistic. The punches sound cool, like, it's all awesome. So there's a big fight. Then Kung Lao comes in. Liu Kang beats them all, and the last guy's going to town on Liu Kang, just punching him in the face, and then Kung Lao comes in, sort of thing, and he says, let my friend go or whatever. And then he throws the hat at the guy, and it hits the guy, and then the hat comes back somehow. I don't even know how the fuck it comes back. But this is probably one of the cool things in the episode, is that he grabs it and he puts it on his head, and he does the thing from like MK2. He puts it on his head and does the whole whoosh, and like he puts his, he sort of swipes his finger across it like whoosh, like that, and then sort of looks down, and you don't see his eyes. You just see the hat. That was cool.
Kung Lao wins.
And then they talk in the alley, and Kung Lao says tournament's tomorrow. Liu Kang says you must be wrapped, and blah 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 blah. And Liu Kang hates Kung Lao. And for a first episode, this was cool. I have to give my okay to the first episode. It shows Liu Kang in Dark Place. It shows Kung Lao. Characters are well done. The fighting was cool. Everything about the first episode was on track. Like it a lot. Yeah, so that's pretty much all I can say about the first episode, really. I mean, they're just quick ones, and it all meshes together. So I'm just going to talk now about the next one. Sorry, I got a bit of something in my hair. Talk about the next episode now, episode 2, because episode 1, that's pretty much all there is to say about episode 1. But we're going to get deeper and deeper into Legacy Season 2 now. So let's watch, I'm going to watch episode 2. And I'm going to tell you guys what I think about it. Remember, you can watch all these on Machinima now. You don't have to wait. The whole season's up. You can go there and watch the whole thing. In case you didn't know. I'm sure you guys didn't know that already. But just in case you didn't know, you now know. Okay, so I'll see you guys in a minute. And I'm going to talk about the second episode. Alrighty, so just watched episode 2. The first thing that episode 2 starts with is a flashback showing Liu Kang talking to his girlfriend. Then the place is robbed, and you hear the gunshot. She gets killed. This is what I was talking about before. It's not enough for me. Anyway, maybe I've watched too much fucked up shit, but it's not enough for me to believe that would turn him bad and fuck everyone in Earthrealm. Yeah, she died. I'm sure it was sad for Liu Kang, but does he blame all of humanity for it just because these scumbag robbers shot his girlfriend? It's not enough for me. There needed to be a more of a reason behind him going bad. They needed to, like I said, they needed to shoot her in the leg and sort of joke about it. Ha ha ha, what are you going to do, huh? What are you going to do? I don't know, something more disturbing to make him really hate Earthrealm. The other thing too is that, remember what Kevin Tachirowan said in his little promo? We get straight to the tournament. No lead up. That's lead up. We've had lead up in the first episode, now we've got lead up in the second episode, and we're 2 episodes in and we're still not really at the tournament. I mean, they've just arrived on the island, sure. The White Lotus is in a Chinese restaurant, which I didn't mind, actually. I thought that was sort of cool. Gave it more of a realistic feel, that they could be, they could have their little area, their praying area or whatever, under the restaurant. Liu Kang leaves the restaurant, and then and then teleports to the island. And this is the thing I don't understand, because he goes there and he's like, blah 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 blah. He mutters a few words, and then he teleports to the island. So now I can understand Kung Lao maybe knowing the secret words to teleport to the Mortal Kombat island that's in between Earthrealm and Outworld, as far as the Mortal Kombat story goes. But how does Curtis Stryker and Johnny Cage and fucking... how do they know? How do they know what to mutter? And it's so weird how they just appear on the island and only the good guys. It's Kung Lao, Stryker, and Johnny Cage, 3 people. the bad guys that appear, it shows Katana, Melina, Scorpion, Ermac, and then Liu Kang. That's 5 people appearing. So it's already like not a fair tournament. This is the thing I'm talking about with the people appearing on the island. It doesn't make any fucking sense. I've erased the names. I don't have them in front of me anymore, but I read them out before. What did I say, like 17 characters? What, even if I divide that, that's not really divisible by 2. But let's say it was, 16 characters. That'd be 8 per side. You know what I mean? That would be even. But so far they've shown us 3 and 5. It's already, and Shang Tsung as well. That's even more bad guys. That's 6 bad guy characters. Oh, but then they showed Raiden, I guess. And so that's 6 versus 4. It's not even. For me, like, I know this isn't supposed to be the first Mortal Kombat movie, but for me, my favourite sort of scenes in the first movie, other than the fights, probably that whole thing with the boat. the boat arrives, and even Jack says it perfectly. That Gregory McKinney, I think his name was. Excuse me, McKinnon. He died, actually, that guy. But the guy who played Jax in the first movie, you know, in his very limited role, he only had that real one scene. And he says, he just looks up and says, "What is that?" You know, when they see the boat is sort of out of this world. It's scary. It's intimidating. It's supposed to look like a piece of shit. You know, it's like they don't care about the boat. The boat just gets you there. They don't, even Kano says it. How come he's got such a crummy looking boat? You know, it didn't matter. You know, all the stuff that happens on the boat is so cool. Like, you know, they put them all there, and then Shang Tsung tries to cheat and tries to kill off 3 of the good guys before they even get to the island. For me, that was cool. I did it. I know they did it in the Journey Begins cartoon too, but I mean, not that and the MK movie are so close together. But that, for me, that stuff was cool. Like Shang Tsung trying to cheat. And I mean, I know this is a new take on Mortal Kombat, and probably trying to distance themselves from the campy movie a bit. But I still think they should have had the boat. And some of you might not agree. But I mean, a lot of these flashbacks and stuff, if they were going to have them in season 1, they could have had them on the boat and having the flashbacks and then coming back to the boat. And Raiden, maybe instead of having a campfire, he could have told him all that shit on the boat, you know, and just, I can already see a way to tighten up the story. And just having them appear on the island, just for me, doesn't work. They needed to all be on the boat. And I don't know if Kevin Tancharoen has a plan for Jax and Sonya and Baraka and all the characters we haven't seen yet. I don't know how he's going to explain them appearing on the island. You know, I don't know how that's going to work. But if I was doing this season, I would have had the boat and I would have had everyone on the boat. That's how I would have done it. Yeah, I guess that's all I can really say about episode 2. So it sort of feels like they're at the tournament now. So from now on, I'm expecting fighting, a lot of fighting. That's what Kevin Tancharoen said. A lot of people wanted fighting. So from now on, I'm expecting a lot of tournament-style fights. So let's see if we're going to get that. I'm going to watch the 3rd episode now, and I'm going to come back and talk about it with you guys. Let's see what happens. Alright, so just watched the 3rd episode, which was all about Kenshi, but pretty much the majority was. The episode starts with that campfire scene I told you about, where Raiden's telling, you know, everyone about the tournament. He mentions that the island was once a civilization that was destroyed by Shao Kahn, and it's a reminder of what will happen to Earth. That bugged me. Again, the fact that the original Mortal Kombat story, the island that the Mortal Kombat tournament takes place on is in between realms. It's not an Earth, and it's not an Outworld. It's a neutral ground. And that's the reason behind the whole Mortal Kombat tournament. Neutral ground. Whoever wins that tournament can then take over. Earth either stays the way it is, or Outlaw wins, Outlaw takes over Earthrealm. But until there's a victor in the tournament, it's on neutral grounds. And that's what was so cool about MK2 in the games. That they hosted their own tournament in their own world. It was like, they knew there would be cheating going on. And it was a very deadly thing. And Shang Tsung's proposal. And that's why I love MK2. But anyway, that's the games. So, yeah, we got the campfire scene. Raiden tells everyone, blah, 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 about the tournament. Sub-Zero appears and says, it's not bullshit, which I like, but he looks like an idiot. He's got a little bit of blue red here. I think he's got a blue sash, and that's it. He just looks stupid. Sub-Zero costume's the worst in this season. This series, sorry. Legacy Season 2. By far the worst costume. And then we get our next flashback, which shows an old guy being robbed by bandits. And Kenshi saves the day. He saves the old man from the bandits. And the old man tells Kenshi of a legend about this sword of Sento, which apparently was put on this island or wherever he is, Earthrealm, by Shao Kahn, which sure doesn't make sense because I'm guessing Kenshi's on Earth. I don't know how Shao Kahn's put a sword on Earthrealm. But anyway, yeah. He talks Kenshi into going there and going after it. And this is why I still think it should have been Reptile. Kenshi shows up and there's all these dead bodies everywhere and skeletons and everything. And it looks really cool. It's really well shot and that. But imagine if that was a pit. Imagine if Kenshi went to like a pit. Like literally there was a bridge. And there was spikes down the bottom. And there was all this death down there. And the sword was in the pit. And he went down there and he fought Reptile. Wouldn't that be like so much cooler? That would be fucking awesome. Instead of Ermac. I just think it's silly. Maybe it's because I know Ermac's just started as a joke. Macro. I know he's just a joke character. I mean, I know he's an actual character now, and that made him a good character and everything. But I just don't think he fit Legacy. Excuse me. So yeah, and then he shows up and he's about to go into the cave in the episode. So that's the third episode. Yeah, so now let's watch the fourth one. And I have a feeling it's going to continue on. And I'll be back to talk more about the fourth episode. Alrighty, so Kenshi went into the cave. And as the old guy says, as soon as you touch the hilt, you will be challenged by Ermac. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but Kenshi didn't touch the hilt and it was still challenged by Ermac. I might be nitpicking, but it seems specific to me. Then there's that explosion I mentioned, which I wasn't a fan of. Kenshi comes out, he's blind. You can tell his eyes are bleeding in that. Then it fast forwards to present day, and we're in the tournament now. He's on the island, he's walking around. The weird thing is that Kevin Tancharoen, the way he shows the tournament now, he just shows this island all the time. People just walking around, and there's no one ever fucking around. And there's always, Mortal Kombat, like, little flags and shit, like, everywhere in the background. Paper flags and stuff. That's pretty cool. I sort of like that stuff. But it's weird because there's no one ever there to see who wins or loses. And, like, even in the Mortal Kombat games, in the first level, you're in the courtyard with all the monks there watching, Shang Tsung's watching, Then like, there's no one in the next few levels. Then you get to that throne room level and Shang Tsung's there again. But as I was saying, it's sort of weird that there's never anyone around to see and witness the fights and see who wins. And I know what you might be saying. Well, it's obvious who wins. The person who's not dead. Which is true, I guess. But, I mean, what if someone cheats or something? Or, like, even the first movie did it. For me, the first movie was just so good. And I know I keep bringing up the first movie. They had people watching and other combatants watching and that. And this is weird. Like, everyone's sort of walking around by themselves and they get challenged by someone. It just feels really strange. And then we see Kenshi and Ermac appears again. So it's weird because we don't know what happened the first time there was that explosion. You assume Ermac's dead. And then he appears again and says he wants the sword back. Kenshi's now got the sword, by the way. He got the sword. and he fights Ermac. It looks like Ermac has the upper hand, and then sort of Kenshi starts doing the telekinetic sort of blasts and shit. And like Raiden said, your powers will be even more stronger here. That's a good way that they showed that, by the way. That was well done. And then, he kills Ermac, puts the sword through him, boom, dead. For me, this is sort of weird, but I guess it's sort of cool too. You hear Shang Tsung say, fatality, but he's not there. So, how does he know there was a fatality? And it's cool. I love hearing Kerry Haruyuki Tagawa say fatality and flawless victory. I love hearing all that shit. But, what? Couldn't he have been there? Couldn't Shang Tsung have been in the background watching and then said it? That would have been even cooler. It's just so weird that it goes to a black screen and we hear him say fatality. It's inconsistent. This is what I'm saying about consistency. So, alright, now let's go to the next episode, episode 5. We're halfway. This is a pretty extensive review, isn't it? And, let's see what's going to happen in episode 5. And I'll come back and talk about it again. Okay, so episode 5, we get... I've written flashback, but it wasn't a flashback, actually. We got 2 flashbacks so far. This was current times, but they were in... Katana and Melina were in their realm. Talking about going to the tournament and that, and they were sort of fighting, and Katana just found out that Shao Kahn's not a real father, and she's fighting with Melina and that, and then she says, get ready to go to the tournament, and then they go there, and turns out, while Kenshi was fighting Ermac, I was wrong, I guess, to say that they were alone, because Katana and Melina were watching, and so was Johnny Cage, which is all shown in this episode. They're just watching the fight, and Kenshi kills Ermac, and then Johnny Cage steps on a stick, and then Katana and Melina see him, and he's looking at him, checking him out. 2 hot girls, right? Then he sees Melina's teeth and says, fuck that, and runs away. For me, as funny as Johnny Cage is, he wouldn't run away from a tournament fight. It just seems so weird that he runs away screaming, ah! It just didn't feel like Mortal Kombat to me. That did not feel like a Mortal Kombat thing. The thing about Mortal Kombat is all the characters are strong in their own regard, and they can all stand up and fight, and every character has the ability to win and to get what they want out of the tournament. Someone who is a coward wouldn't survive the Mortal Kombat tournament. Someone who would run away from a fight wouldn't survive any of the fights. So, for me, I didn't like this scene at all. It just felt stupid. It felt silly. It felt like they put it in there to add comedy to this thing. And that might be all well and good in that, to get the numbers and that, but it doesn't suit Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat needs to be gritty and violent and a tight story, and when you start adding jokes and stuff like that, you sort of lose a bit. It's not okay if it's a fan video thing or something, but this is a real thing. You've been building this up. This is the tournament now. And then you got someone running away from a fight. Didn't sit well with me. So, let's move on to the next episode, episode 6, and find out what happens. Because I've seen it. I know Johnny Cage fights Melina. But I'm trying to review this episode by episode to tell you my opinion on the episode itself without sort of thinking about it as a whole. I'm literally watching the one episode and then giving you my raw opinion on that episode alone. And then if more's added to it, then next time I'll mention that. Do you know what I mean? That's sort of how I'm doing this. So let's check out the next one. Alright, so episode 6 started with a flashback again. That's 3 now. Kevin Tachiron promised us No more lead-ups. Straight to the tournament. This flashback showed Johnny Cage thrown in jail and Raiden meeting him and telling him about the tournament. The scene itself is pretty cool. Time stops again, like Shang Tsung did with the first Legacy. And then Johnny Cage says, "Oh, not this again, you know. I'm going to need more therapy. Game over." Thinks he's nuts, you know. Raiden shows up and says it's real. So Shang Tsung. Blade didn't join him. Obviously, he convinces Johnny Cage to join him. Then we go back to the present time. And this, like I said, this just feels so disjointed the way this thing's put together, this machine. But, yeah, in the present time, it then resumes where Johnny Cage was running away from Melina. Melina's caught up to him and then there's a fight. They start fighting each other and it's pretty brutal. Melina hits him in the nuts and Johnny Cage says, "That's my move, bitch." And yeah, he has a few funny lines like, "You got Cage, bitch." You know, he says a few cool things like that. Melina does a little roll on the ground. Then Melina gets the upper hand and sort of pins him up on the or lifts him up onto the tree, and she's pinned him with the sai. And she's yelling, "Finish him!" At Katana. She wants Katana to finish him off. And Katana stands her ground and says, "No, Shao Kahn's not my dad, you're not my sister, blah, 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 blah." Then she throws a fan in between sort of Melina and Johnny Cage and sort of breaks them apart. So, and then Melina says, "Big mistake." Then Melina and Katana fight. It's a good fight. It's really cool, well filmed again. The editing's tight. It actually looks like Melina's going to win the fight until Johnny Cage intervenes and stabs her in the foot. Says, "That's for my sunglasses, bitch." And then Katana just like cuts her fucking head off. Like, cuts her head in half actually. Sort of slices her along that line where the... You know, she's got the big mouth with all the fangs in it. She cuts right through that and just slices her head off, which looks really cool. And then you get that thing happening again where you hear Shang Tsung say, "Fatality," in the darkness. You know, it's like... It's just so weird. I can't get used to that. It's just so... disjointed. Just... It doesn't work for me. It's so separate. It's like, yeah, like I said, I love hearing him say it. It's cool. He says it awesome. You know, but couldn't he be there and saying it? Couldn't he be witnessing these fights? I don't know. I just think it's weird. So yeah, that's episode 6. Now we're going to watch episode 7. So I'll let you know what I think of 7 right after this. Alright, so episode 7 was all about Scorpion and Sub-Zero and their history and that. While this is another flashback, the 4th flashback, Kevin Tancheron just saying, we get straight to the tournament, no lead-ups, and we're in the 4th flashback, which is lead-up. But I have to say, this episode, really cool. I don't know if I'm just a sucker for the Scorpion Sub-Zero storyline, because I am a sucker for the Scorpion Sub-Zero storyline. It's probably my favourite thing about Mortal Kombat, is Scorpion's my favourite character, but Scorpion has substance with Sub-Zero, you know. It's why a lot of fans... It's a popular argument, who's your favourite, Scorpion or Sub-Zero? For me, I like Scorpion more. I like the revenge thing and that. But this episode's quite cool. Like, it shows them as kids in the field, and the kids just playing together. They're both from rival clans, and their fathers pulling them back. And it's more... The Lin Kuei seemed to be more the arsehole clan, I guess you could say. He pulls his son aside and says, "We don't cohort, I'm saying that wrong. We don't hang out with, you know, Shiro Ryu dogs." And the kid's like, "Why?" Because that's how it is. Why? Because. Because why? It's pretty much the why game. And, you know, Dad doesn't have an answer for him. The answer is, well, because that's how it is. That's how my parents did it, and that's how their parents did it. You know, so... yeah, Baihan's never really believed it. Sorry, that's my dryer beeping. Yeah, so then you get the 20 years later thing, and Scorpion's walking down the road with his wife. I should say Hanzo Hasashi, walking down the road with his wife and Jubei, their child. Jubei runs off, and Kuai Liang, who showed up also in the flashback briefly, grabs Jubei, and then Scorpion says, "Leave my child be." And you know, they have a bit of an argument. I mean him no harm, blah blah blah. And then I'm not a child anymore, Hanzo Hasashi. And then they fight. Hanzo Hasashi fights with the Lin Kuei, you know. Yeah, and then they have another meeting in this field. They go back to this field. This field was where they were playing 20 years ago. And Hanzo Hasashi meets with Baihan and says, Baihan says, "I heard that you were the attacker," you know. And Hanzo Hasashi says, "With my wife and child as my co-conspirators," you know, and it becomes obvious that it was Kuai Liang who attacked Hanzo Hasashi. And then they make a pact to no longer, you know, follow in the footsteps of their fathers and to end the feud. And Sub-Zero, oh, I shouldn't say Sub-Zero, Baihan mentions that he's been chosen to fight for Earthrealm in the tournament. So it was a very cool episode. It was done really well. And I think it's the thing with Scorpion and Sub-Zero is the characters are so rich and it's so easy to translate into something like this. But honestly, if you want to look at it harshly, we didn't need all this setup. I mean, it was already set up in Legacy Season 1, you know. It was set up really well in that, actually. And they just added more and more to it. And the stuff from Legacy Season 1 fits in with this and that, but I just don't think it was necessary. So let's watch the next episode, episode 8, because I'm sure there's more about Scorpion and Sub-Zero in that, and I'll be back to talk about it. Alrighty, so just watched episode 8. And basically, yeah, that show, it starts with Baihan being woken up saying there's been an incident. The incident is basically what happened in the first season of Legacy. You see the village attacked and all that, and he's being told about it. So remember they made the truce, they weren't going to fight each other. Then Shang Tsung and Quan Chi impersonated Sub-Zero, killed his family, village, everything. And then Baihan's mad about it. You guys weren't supposed to do anything, blah, blah, blah. We didn't do it, you know, sort of thing. And then this old guy tells him, you know, that it was Shang Tsung and blah, 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 blah. The thing that's sort of weird about this, I couldn't put my finger on it until I sort of just checked back, and they have flashbacks from the first season, and the voices sound different. And at first I thought, okay, they've just used different actors, they've been lazy and haven't got the same actors, but I don't know how I even overlooked this. The whole Scorpion and Sub-Zero episodes in the first season of MK Legacy, when they spoke Japanese, and I remember loving that so much because Scorpion is Japanese, and even though the Lin Kuei are sort of Chinese, it worked to have them in the same vicinity of it. It made sense that they could be two clans in Japan, and the whole time in the first season of Legacy they both speak Japanese. Baihan and Hanzo speak Japanese the whole time, and in this I didn't even realise they're speaking English. They're speaking fucking English. Why did they do that? Why did they fucking do that? That was so cool. In Legacy, in the first season of Legacy, I remember loving that so much. He even says "get over here" in Japanese, and I just thought it was a really cool way of telling it. because Scorpion is Japanese and no one had ever done it like that. And now they've fucked it up. They've gone back and they made it English. I'd love to know why they did that. It was just so awesome. Maybe the actors couldn't learn all the Japanese. I don't know why, but they should not have done that. That pisses me off. So yeah, if you're wondering what was with the funny voices, that's why. It's because they spoke Japanese in the first one. And then Scorpion and Sub-Zero, they meet up and they're fighting each other. The weird thing is they're fighting in that field. Well, it looks like that field, which said it was in Japan. But if they're on the Mortal Kombat island, unless Sub-Zero hadn't gone to... No, he appeared on the island. So, I'm confused. Is that field on the island now, or does this happen to be another field? I don't know. Looked like the field from where they live in Japan, you know? It's so confusing. I think this thing is just so disjointed and out of place, but anyway, Scorpion, they fight each other, and Scorpion won't listen to Bai Han, is trying to tell him that you've been deceived, and Shang Tsung and that. And Scorpion doesn't want to listen, and then he does that fatality, rips his spine out, which looked fucking awesome. But for me, that's always going to be Sub-Zero's fatality. I don't know why they gave it to Scorpion. I mean, I know in Deception, Scorpion pulls the spine out, but even then I thought that's always going to be Sub-Zero's fatality. Just from the first game, it was Sub-Zero, so we'll overlook it just for story's sake, but bit unsettling for me as an MK fan, seeing Scorpion do that. For me, that's a Sub-Zero move. Yeah, it was sort of cool, and then again we get that Shang Tsung fatality again in the dark, which I've already mentioned twice. You guys know I'm not a fan of. Yeah. So, and that's the wrap up for the sort of the Scorpion Sub-Zero. I like the way it was told. I think the big thing for me though is they dropped the Japanese, which they should not have done. The Japanese made it so cool for me. It made it just showed me that they really did care about Mortal Kombat and having a sort of serious tone, and when they spoke Japanese in the first one, I thought that was so awesome. And to then not do it in the second series, yeah, he just threw that out the window by not doing that in the second series. Just threw it away, you know? It's like he didn't care about the second series or something, I don't know. So yeah, that's my opinions on episode, was that 7? Yeah, oh, 8, sorry. So now we'll be watching number 9, and I'll be giving you my opinions. So episode 9 was all about Shang Tsung turning Liu Kang. Liu Kang's in a restaurant, Shang Tsung comes in, and the whole episode is just chat. I really liked this episode. I think it would have had, as I've mentioned earlier, I know, just going to say it again. I think Liu Kang, the thing with his girlfriend would have had a lot more drive if Shang Tsung was either behind the killing of his girlfriend or if it was a lot more savage. I think it would have even driven this conversation a lot more. Shang Tsung even says it, rapists, murderers. It makes it sound real scummy, but I mean, yeah, his girlfriend was murdered, but you know, there wasn't enough drive behind the killing to, I think, to turn Liu Kang bad. I mean, but Shang Tsung twists the conversation and blames Kung Lao and says White Lotus didn't help you and get revenge and all this, and it's their fault and they have to pay and blah blah blah. Oh, excuse me. And that's how he's able to turn Liu Kang. The thing that's weird is, like, in the Mortal Kombat games, there's a sort of a rule that, I know this because this came up with Bo Ray Cho. Bo Ray Cho's a good guy, but he's from Outworld, and so that's why he's never fought in a Mortal Kombat tournament, because if he was to fight in a Mortal Kombat tournament, he would be fighting for Outworld by default. which is sort of strange. You'd think the same would happen with Liu Kang. If Liu Kang was to fight in the Mortal Kombat tournament, he'd always be fighting for Earthrealm, not against it. So I guess that rule doesn't apply in Mortal Kombat Legacy. Yeah, it's a really good episode. Kerry Haruyuki Tagawa is perfect as Shang Tsung, and yeah, you can really see the way he acts out this scene here, and the way he twists the words, and there's a flood coming, Liu Kang, and I'm offering you a place on the ark. Some really cool dialogue there, and I was quite happy with the 9th episode. The 9th episode has my big rubber stamp of approval. I liked it. There's not much I can really fault in this scene. There's not a lot going on really. It's just two guys chatting. So it's hard for me to nitpick this, but I really like Kerry, and I like the guy playing Liu Kang. And everything's great. Everything that's said's pretty sweet. And, yeah. So let's go on to the last episode of this current season of Legacy, and I'll give you my opinions. Alrighty, so I just watched the season for now. Before I talk about that, I just want to mention something I forgot to mention in talking about the last episode. The last episode started with 2 weeks earlier. So again, that was another flashback. That made 5. And this one starts with 10 years ago, which makes 6 flashbacks total. In this episode, we get straight to the tournament, he said. There's no lead up, he said. Basically, this showed 10 years ago that Kung Lao's doing all this training, which I didn't think was necessary to really show that, but it's in my hair again. I guess, I don't know why they showed it, but and then Liu Kang shows up and tells Kung Lao that his girlfriend's dead, and then they sort of argue a bit about, he says he brought karma to the guys who killed her, so he went out and killed all those guys who murdered his girlfriend and that, and Kung Lao says this isn't the path of the White Lotus. He says, I'm not White Lotus anymore, and that. And Kung Lao tells him to leave and not come back. Basically, then we go back to the island, and Stryker runs into Johnny Cage. And after Johnny Cage has still got that wound from fighting with Melina, Stryker helps him out, sort of puts his arm in a brace. Yeah, and then Liu Kang shows up and throws a fireball at him and sort of knocks out, Stryker sort of gets knocked out, and then Johnny Cage sort of starts fighting with Liu Kang. The weird thing is, because Johnny Cage has got his arm in a sling, it's sort of weird. I don't know, it just feels weird. It just feels like he's injured, like it's not a proper fight and that. And obviously Liu Kang wins pretty easy, and he's about to kill him. Liu Kang's about to kill Johnny Cage. And then Kung Lao shows up and stops him. And then Kung Lao's like, oh, Liu Kang, why didn't you tell me 2 weeks ago? I guess it's supposed to be the reveal that, why didn't you tell me, back in Macau that you'd be in the tournament? Because remember, he didn't mention it in the first episode. He said he was going to the tournament. Liu Kang didn't mention it because he was fighting for the bad guys, I guess this is supposed to be, the big reveal, but it was sort of glanced over. It's like, meh. And then they talk, or why follow Shang Tsung down this road, why do this, why, blah, 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 blah. They talk a bit. And then Kung Lao says, I'm not going to fight you. And that's where it ends. They're going to fight, And that's where this whole thing ends. This whole second season of Legacy finishes there. I gotta say, that's a pretty weak season for now. I mean, it might be like cliffhanger, a little bit of a cliffhanger, but didn't really show enough for me to be a cliffhanger. I mean, you want to see good cliffhangers, you look at the way an episode of Breaking Bad finishes. Or you look at the way an episode of Sons of Anarchy finishes. those are cliffhangers. You know, those are really, you just want to find out what happens next. But for me, I know what's going to happen next. They're going to fight. You know, I guess I don't know who's going to win, but, you know, there's not enough to it. There's not enough punch and not enough material. And that's what I've been saying. This whole thing, this whole season of Legacy is a big clusterfuck and a mess. That's what it feels like to me. Too many flashbacks, too many, like, flashbacks, then present day, flashback, present day. It's just back and forth, and it's not even that consistent like that, because sometimes it's like, you know, flashback, present day, present day, present day, 2 weeks ago, 10 years ago. It's just all over the place. Like, I don't know why he would do it like that. Other than the story feeling disjointed to me, the acting, the sound effects, the fighting, the locations, the video editing, everything else was great. All the effects were very cool. So, you know, there's not a lot more I can say really about it. We're going to have to wait and see the next season of Legacy to find out what happens. And then I think they're going to do a movie. So I think there's going to be another season, then a movie. So, yeah. I stand by everything I said at the start of this video. The fact that it just feels so strange that Kano and Baraka and aren't on the island, and, you know, and Jax and Sonya aren't on the island. It just feels so weird. Like, are they going to appear later or something? I don't know. Just felt so out of touch. Yeah. It's not the way I would have done it. I mean, if you're going to say that, hey, Jax and Sonya are in it too, and they're going to the tournament, they got to at least appear on the islands as well. So, I guess we'll have to wait and see. Maybe Kevin Tancharoen has a plan for Jax and Sonya and Kano and Baraka. Maybe they're Wave 2 who appear on the island or something. I don't know. But we'll have to wait and see. That's my review of Legacy. I know a few people have been waiting for it. I'm sorry it wasn't soon. I've been feeling a little bit off past week. I haven't been really sick. I've just been feeling a bit off. So, and I wanted to sort of get my head around the episodes a bit more. I watched them a few times and just wanted to get my overall opinion sort of sorted in my head before I went on camera. Yeah, so thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys for another TMK review soon. Peace out.
I'm still calling bullshit. The fuck?
It's not bullshit. And there's no time to debate.
When do we begin?
Now.